vote for Trump means your groceries will be cheaper. So many people mention, I go in, so many people mention groceries, that beautiful but simple word, groceries. Sir, my groceries. You don't think of it that way, but that's what they mention more than anything, my groceries.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a look at the reaction of people about what Donald Trump has said about groceries before and after the 2024 election. Before the election, Trump made several remarks about how grocery prices were manageable and how his policy helped keep costs low for American families. However, after the election, with rising inflation and increase in food prices, his tune seems to shift as grocery costs continue to climb. We will explore how people reacted and how this issue has sparked debate among both his supporters and critics. Stay tuned as we dive into the controversy surrounding grocery prices in the 2024 election.
God damn. Well, Trump supporters, whenever somebody shows you who they fucking are, you're supposed to fucking believe them. You're not supposed to sit there and listen to them lie and lie and lie on repeat, because that means that you're a dumbass and that you are fucking gullible. How many of us, sane Americans, knew that this motherfucker wasn't gonna lower shit? Ain't that a bitch? But, I mean, dude, I don't always read people correctly all the time. I do make that mistake. You have to meet their representative before you meet who they actually are. But this motherfucker told y'all to drink bleach in 2020. What made you think that he was gonna fucking lower grocery prices? Y'all don't feel a little delulu right now? No. You look delulu, but I guess.
As a surprise to absolutely no one, Trump said he can't lower grocery prices. It's just going to be too hard for him. I mean, duh. We all knew that, right? And so I just wonder what other empty promises, aka lies, he made to get elected that man is also going to realize, oh, well, that's a little hard to do, right? Like, what a wild and embarrassing time to be an American.
So it looks like Trump just admitted that he lied during his campaign to all of his followers who don't understand economics or inflation. He just told Time magazine that he can't actually bring down the price of groceries because that's hard to do. And that's not actually how things work. Inflation is the rate in which prices increase. And even if you bring down the rate of inflation, which is what Biden's done, you can't actually bring down the prices of things. That's not the way the economy or inflation works. So Trump was banking on his supporters not understanding economics or inflation, and looks like he was right about that. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot more promises broken and a lot more things that have to be explained to Trump supporters when he takes office, because it turns out he lied about a lot of things, he doesn't understand a lot of things, and neither do his supporters. So good luck with that.
Donald Trump is not going to lower your grocery prices. He is cool with corporations making record profits because the CEOs of those corporations are his friends and donors. He wants them to continue to make money so that he can continue to receive donations. Yes, prices were lower in 2020. They were also lower than that in 2015, and even lower than that in 2010. And in 2005, I was paying $500 a month for a two-bedroom house. I'm not sure if you were aware, but we had a pandemic that shut down the entire world, and that raised prices. Some people were paying top dollar for items due to shipping or supply and demand issues. Then, as the country opened up and people spent their stimulus checks, some companies raised prices simply trying to recoup funds, lost profits from the pandemic. If you consider yourself middle class, working class, you are voting against your own interest if you are voting Republican in this election. Have you not heard of all of the Republicans that are switching sides to endorse Kamala Harris? Right now, under the Biden administration, our economy is strong. It's the strongest in the world. The stock market is high. U.S. oil and gas production's at record highs. And you can expect those trends to continue under another Democratic presidency.
I just want to know how all the people that commented that they were voting because of their grocery prices feel now that Donald Trump has basically said that it's really hard to bring prices down once they're up. How do you feel now? Just curious. Just stirring the pot a little.
So in today's political news, you got Joy Reid and Lawrence O'Donnell from MSNBC hosting a news segment saying that Donald Trump has already backtracked on what he ran on. And what they're saying he backtracked on was when he said he cannot directly lower food prices. Now, we know and you know that Trump cannot directly go to food retailers and say, hey guys, I'm the president now. You must lower food costs because it's affecting Americans in a negative way. We know he can't do that. What he said he was going to do to tackle the high prices was lower energy costs, make Americans more independent. Drill, baby, drill, okay? And he also is implementing new tariffs so that countries can pay more, thus resulting in Americans having lower inflation. So stop being silly. We know what Trump's going to do. He doesn't even take office until January 20th, and you guys are already trying to say he's a failure. Okay, we also know the American people that voted Trump in, he cannot undo in 4 days what has been done in 4 years. It's going to take time, and we are patient. What we do know is that MSNBC is a dying platform, and you guys are getting desperate, and you guys are scared and worried about your careers. So I expect for you to focus on something that you have a little bit more control of, and that's your career, okay? We the American people, we're going to be fine, okay? Trump back.
As your life gets worse because you voted against your own interests and those around you, don't come online crying because we don't care. Honestly, hope it gets worse. When you can't afford those extracurricular activities for your kids because the cost of living went up but not the money, hope it gets worse. When you start having health issues and you can't afford health care because you voted against your own interests, we hope it gets worse. When the cost of living goes up and you can't afford anymore, your house goes into foreclosure because you're not getting paid enough because you voted against your own interests, we hope it gets worse. I hope you know we don't care. No amount of crying, no amount of trying to gaslight us into being the better people. We told y'all, you voted for the option that ruined the economy the first time he was in office and currently ran on a platform that was completely opposite of what you needed to make your life better. If you took any minimal amount of research, you would see that all the policy he was trying to put ruined your life, and you still voted for him because of racism and misogyny. So please, we do not care.
Becca is so funny because they're so mad about Trump saying that he can't lower grocery prices, and all they're saying, instead of being upset that he lied to them, do you know what they're saying? There's a common theme in this comment section of this video I was watching, and it's literally Kamala hates God. Like, hold on. We're saying that Trump just lied to you, and all you gotta say is Kamala hates God. Here's another. Kamala decided it would be best to spend taxpayers' money on illegal immigration instead of helping the American citizens get food on their table. Again, this isn't even about Kamala. We're talking about Trump lying to you. Oh, but what was Kamala about to do for us? Clearly you didn't pay attention. Because at least she had plans, not just concepts. And they are still saying the same shit. And what did Kamala do in her 4 years in office? Bailey, please stay in school. Please. They literally cannot even question their leader. They can't even admit that he lied. They can't even admit that they have been bamboozled. Like,
I'm not hearing enough people talk about the fact that when Trump's tariffs are enacted, companies will use tariffs as a cover to continue to price gouge us. We know for a fact that they use inflation as a cover while posting record profits. When people were complaining about Kamala not having a strong economic policy or not standing up for the working class. They were wrong because she consistently talked about going after corporations who were price gouging. Corporations are going to be corporations. They are going to continue to prioritize profits. And guess what? That means that when the cost of doing business increases, they're going to be passing those costs on to customers. But on top of that, they're also going to be using any tactic to continue to keep prices high.
In a recent interview with Time Magazine, Person of the Year, Donald Trump, said he doesn't believe he's going to be able to reduce those grocery prices.
I don't care if Donald Trump doesn't lower prices at the grocery store. I voted for Donald Trump because he hates all the same people I do, and he's going to make their lives a living nightmare the next 4 years. Anyway, I'm late for church. Blessings.
Donald Trump's statement that he can't lower grocery or gas prices is not a notable one, especially considering the amount of attention inflation, gas prices, and the grocery costs have gotten during his presidency and even after. His remarks reflect a complex view of economic policy, government intervention, and the limits of presidential power. While some might see this as a pragmatic and honest assessment of the limitations of the office, others may see it as a missed opportunity to address key concerns of voters. To understand this reaction, it's essential to dive into the implication of Trump's statement and how various groups interpret it. One of the positive reactions to Trump's statement is that it can be seen as a moment of realism. Presidents, regardless of their political affiliation, often promise to fix the nation's economic troubles, but many of these issues, like gas prices and grocery costs, are driven by factors outside the control of any one person or even a government. A president may be able to influence some aspects of the economy, but the global supply chain, geopolitical conflicts, natural disasters, and market forces often play a much larger role than domestic policy. For example, when gas prices spike, it is often because of global oil price or action taken by OPEC, factors over which the US president has limited influence. Trump's honesty about the limits of presidential power could result with voters who are tired of politicians offering solutions to issues that are inherently more complicated than they are often portrayed. By acknowledging that he can't lower prices directly, Trump may appear more candid and relatable to some members of the electorate who are wary of political promises that do not come to fruition. This frank admission could be seen as a sign that he is not making unrealistic promises or trying to exploit people's frustration for short-term political gain. Additionally, some may argue that by admitting these limitations, Trump is recognizing that the complexity of economic system can't be solved overnight, especially when it comes to something as widespread as grocery prices or fuel costs. This might reinforce the idea that leaders should focus on long-term systemic changes rather than temporary solutions that only provide brief relief. On the flip side, many interpret Trump's statement as an admission of weakness, a sign that he is either unwilling or unable to take real action on critical issues affecting everyday Americans. The cost of groceries and gas is a concern that hits close to home for millions of people, and it has been a major talking point in both political campaigns and public discourse. When voters are struggling to make ends meet, they want a leader who will step up and find ways to help ease that burden, not one who seems resigned to the status quo. Critics might say that Trump, like any leader, should be offering tangible solutions to address these problems rather than shrugging off responsibilities. After all, it's not unheard of for presidents to take action in the face of high gas prices or inflation. For instance, President Biden responded to high gas prices by releasing oil from the U.S. strategist petroleum reserves in 2022. While not a permanent fix, it provided short-term relief and signaled that the administration was taking steps to address the issue. Trump's statements could be interpreted as unwillingness to do the same, leaving people frustrated with the lack of concrete action. There is also a political angle to consider. Trump is a populist figure, often positioning himself as a defender of the common person. His brand of politics revolves around the idea of draining the swamp, tackling the establishment, and fixing problems that affect ordinary Americans. So, when he says that he can't lower grocery or gas prices, some may see it as a betrayal of his own image. People who voted for Trump expecting him to make America great again might now question his ability to fulfill that promise if he appears to be powerless in addressing one of the most tangible and pressing concerns of American life. Moreover, some may see this statement as an evasion of responsibility. While there are certain factors beyond the president's control, Trump has historically positioned himself as a master of negotiation, capable of striking deals and using the power of the presidency to make things happen. For some, these remarks might raise doubts about his effectiveness in office. It can be argued that the role of the president is not just to manage crises, but to inspire confidence in the public by demonstrating leadership, even in difficult circumstances. By stating that he can't lower prices, Trump risks losses that aura of confidence and control that has been central to his political personnel. Beyond the immediate reactions to comment, there are broader implications for how Trump's stance might shape public discourse and policy proposal. On the one hand, this statement opens up a conversation about the limitations of presidential power, prompting a more nuanced discussion about the role of government in addressing economic challenges. On the other hand, it could encourage other politicians to make similar excuses, leading to a more cynical electorate that feels disconnected from the political process and disillusioned with the idea of real change. Critics of Trump might say this handling of energy policy shows he could have done more to control gas prices while his administration worked to increase domestic oil production. Some argue that it didn't do enough to manage the market or prevent price changes. Additionally, Trump's hands-off approach to the economy, especially his position to regulations, may have made the problem he now claims are beyond his control worse. On the other hand, supporters might view this as a reflection of Trump's belief in the power of the free market and his disdain for government intervention. They may argue that the economy operates best when the government gets out of the way and lets market forces decide prices. From this perspective, his remarks about not being able to control prices could be seen as defense of capitalism rather than an admission of failure. In conclusion, Donald Trump's comment about not being able to lower grocery or gas prices is a complex one that could elicit a range of reactions depending on one's perspective. To some, it might come across as a refreshingly honest acknowledgement of the limits of presidential power. To others, it could be seen as a sign of weakness, avoiding responsibilities for issues that directly affect voters. The broader implications of this statement are profound, as it opens up a conversation about the role of government in managing economic concerns and highlights the challenges any leader faces in addressing such widespread problems. Ultimately, Trump's remarks adds another layer to the ongoing debate about the effectiveness of government and the role of leadership in a modern economy. Thank you for watching, and let's continue this conversation in the comments below. Let us share our thoughts and perspectives with one another. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on this story and more. I will see you in the next video.